Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and this is Vigorelli Institute, and today we are talking about the first piece in a two-part series that I'm going to do. One is going to be kind of scientific and the other part is going to be fantastical. Okay, what are we talking about? Blood. Because, well, it's kind of important for you to be alive. Okay, so what exactly is blood? Well, it is a fluid, and we evolved blood so that we wouldn't have to live in water. That's why. Okay. Back in the old days, in the long ago, all cells had to be in touch with water because water contained oxygen. Water contained various raw materials that we used to build ourselves with. And water was also kind of defensive. It kept us from dying of radiation poisoning from the sun. Nasty sunburn. Okay? So, once we figured out how to get out of the water and start walking around and doing other things, we had to bring the water with us to keep us alive. And that turned into blood. Okay? The point of blood is to bring oxygen from the outside world to the inside world in a fashion that the cells can actually uptake it. It also allows us to bring the nutrients that we eat to the things that allow us to get the food so we can eat it. Okay? Very basic. And that's where things kind of start to change. Okay, I've just described everything that is in animals, everything that is in fungus, everything that has to do with plants in bringing nutrients from A to B. Okay, all of that is technically blood, unless you add this one little thing here. Okay, blood also needs to have a set molecule. It's usually what's called a macromolecule. We call it hemoglobin. And in the middle of that is a piece of metal. One, maybe two little ions of a given metal that the oxygen is able to lock onto, and off we go. Okay? So, that kind of cuts it down, doesn't it? Yeah, now we're exclusively talking about things that are animals. Okay? Plants, they have a fluid that circulates things. So do many fungus. Plants, it's a fluid. It doesn't exactly have a means of transporting oxygen per se. Well, plants don't need oxygen, that's toxic. You're wrong. Okay, plants take in carbon dioxide and push out oxygen as a waste product. This is true. However, their cells still use oxygen for quite a few processes. Their life isn't just making sugar for you, you know. They actually use that sugar to power their cellular processes. They then use the oxygen that's already in the atmosphere to break the sugar and release carbon dioxide and water just like we do. It's just not a lot of it. Okay? So, alright. Animals we just don't make sugar. That's it. Okay? So, the fluid within a plant is not blood. Okay? It is something else. In a tree we call it sap. Okay? You can also argue that in the herbaceous little flowers, what have you, it's still sap, okay? And there's lots of stuff in there to keep Mr. Animal like me from going, because it's not mine, I'm stealing it, okay? Okay, so, back to topic. Now the similarities in blood that have to do with all of that start to differ when we start talking about the way the hemoglobin is built, okay? It's all basically the same. The major piece is what metal is used to bring the oxygen from wherever it was grabbed to wherever it is needed. Okay? In vertebrates, thanks to one little fishy ancestor, we use iron. That's why it's red. Okay? Our blood is red because we rust iron in our blood to carry the oxygen. Okay, and then when it gets there, hemoglobin opens up and another enzyme comes out, grabs the oxygen and sets it aside and says, thanks! And hemoglobin closes and off it goes, and next one in line. Okay, very efficient. In other animals like, say, what are they called? Not sea stars. They're an echinoderm, spines, you know what I'm talking about. Their blood is blue. Okay? And that's because they use a different metal. They don't use iron to carry the oxygen. It's a different metal that oxidizes with the oxygen, and then they bring the oxygen to wherever it is it's needed. I'm willing to bet, based on the chart that I read when I was doing research for this, they actually use like zinc or nickel to do that. Okay? Some insects, they don't have red blood. They have green blood. Okay? And so that is likely going to be copper is going to be their base. Okay? And now we start getting into the fantasy stuff. So, I'll go ahead and let that sit right there. Alright, now we've examined the Western knowledge of blood. Let's look at the Eastern, shall we? Now, I've done a video way back in the past called Chi and Blood. It was one of my very first ones. It was like 2015, 2016 I did that. Go ahead and check that one out. But here's the skinny on it. Alright, so in Chinese medicine, blood is a basic piece of life. I know. Well, you know, when I cut him open, all this red stuff poured out, he stopped living. Damnedest thing. Yeah. Okay. Blood is a component of yin. In fact, to get a yin deficiency, you first have to have a blood deficiency. That blood deficiency can come up in a variety of stuff. Could be a terrible diet, immense amount of stress. For some reason, there's a glitch and you're just not producing it. That one's bad. And a bunch of other stuff. But eventually, your blood deficiency will progress to a yin deficiency, and then you are super screwed. Okay? Especially if you let that turn into a yang deficiency on top of it, which it eventually will. Usually when those bottom out, we usually call a nice guy at this place to get a nice box for you and have you take a nice long nap. Okay, so blood is also two very other things. It is protoflesh. It is flesh that hasn't quite solidified yet. Okay? That's one of the reasons why, according to Chinese medicine, when you are damaged and you've got an open wound on your body for whatever reason, it's all bloody because the body's trying to feed blood into it. That way, new flesh will form and you will heal. A little bit more to it than that, honestly. The other thing that blood is it is extra hair. Yeah, issue. Okay, but it's hair everywhere. Okay, all hair, even on the body and on the top of the head, mostly on the top of the head, is extra blood. If you start running into a lack of blood, your hair falls out. Okay, or it becomes brittle, or it changes color, such as it turns white, it turns gray, turns red. Okay, something bad has happened to the blood. We need to fix that. Okay, that's also why when I see hair treatments, Keeps, for instance, and its forerunner Rogaine, I always, because they're treating the symptom, not the actual cause. All right? So guys, if you are losing your hair, just do what I did. It's a lot easier. But if you don't want to lose your hair, what you need to do is start taking a look at your diet. You got to clean that up. You got to improve your stress levels. You need something that is actually going to build up your blood. Herbs are very, very effective at that. There's quite a few. Hesho Wu comes to mind. Just don't eat too much of that. You'll be in the bathroom long enough to pick out a new tile pattern. Seriously. Okay, so that's about all I've got for you today on scientific interpretation of blood. If you're new to the channel, hit that big red subscribe button down below, which is like a button, and leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know you like the bald look. I've been rocking it for a few years now. Not going back, can't make me. And if you're kind of teetering on that, you know, just lean into the baldness, dude. It's a lot less stress, okay? If you have any questions about blood, feel free to leave them in the comments. Also, if you need to get in touch with me directly, feel free to visit my website at vigintmed.com. That stands for vigorelli-integrated-medicine.com. You can shoot me a message there. I will reply. And if you want to help me out with what I do, if you want to leave a suggestion or a recommendation or a request for a video such as this one, for a question that you have, something you would like me to take a look at that might be in my wheelhouse, I can pop over to Patreon. I believe those start at $2 a month. I know, really hitting the bank on this one. And I'll be happy to consider it, okay? All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.